I came to Chile because I wanted to learn about South America, and Chile was kind of said to be the safest country in South America, so I picked that one because I wanted to be able to, go out by myself.
I was particularly interested in Chile because of actually my lack of knowledge and understanding of the country beforehand, and so I was really curious about coming here and learning about the people and the culture.
And I specifically chose Chile because UVM offered really interesting classes that I was really keen on taking, so I decided for Chile.
I was excited, that sounds bad, but I wanted to see what was happening. It was really interesting because a lot of, in my host family, she was kind of on the other side of what was happening, and she just saw it as, it's just because of the metro fares, and it's kind of silly what's going on, it's overreacting. But since this has been going on, she's kind of just been trying to continue her normal life, which a lot of Chileans have been trying to do, and just watching the news, but what's on the news is completely one-sided, it's completely not doesn't portray what's actually happening at all. So I wanted to see what was actually happening, because
I think I didn't realize what was happening or understand what was happening until I went out on the streets the first time, during the toque de queda. So I went out on my own, and there was I don't know how many milicos standing there by the mall, with their arms, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. It really intimidated me. More and more I started understanding what was happening, and I felt really engaged, and I had to go out myself and do something, not only inform myself but also take part in the movement, because I knew this was the opportunity, the only opportunity I had. And I don't know, I just felt I really wanted to support the people that led me into their country.
The Chile that I'm now leaving, I feel has a lot more depth, and it has a lot more sentimental meaning to me, and I feel I've really come to understand the people and the culture, and as much as I possibly can from an outsider's perspective.
I saw a lot of people unite overnight over a common issue. It was over the course of a weekend that it went from just a small group at a metro station to the entire country fighting for the same cause.
The people are so united, they're one, and they go onto the streets fighting for the same thing. And I more and more started understanding what the issues are in Chile and why the people go onto the streets, and I just felt so bad because I'm so angry at the system and everything that's putting the people into such a situation that they don't see another way of combating what's happening. And I just felt I was fighting for my own country when I went onto the streets, and it was such a great feeling.
I think it was after, or maybe during the toque de queda, I think after the first 3 days, I started to realize that what I was seeing on the news wasn't a legitimate depiction of what was actually happening in the streets. And I really wanted to get out and experience it for myself. And when I saw some of the protests happening on Plaza Viña, I realized that this was such an amazing atmosphere, and it wasn't violent, there was no anger necessarily, it was just people were frustrated and they were letting this out, and it was important. And then there was families, there was kids, there was older people, there was students, and I felt very lucky to be there and witness that, and I did take part in it because I felt united as well with the people.
It's kind of like a slap in the face when you're especially when you watch the news after and they portray it they just show, the buildings are burning, and this one carabinero got beat up. but they don't show all the eyes that got shot out and all the people that got sprayed, and like when people are walking with their families in the streets, the freaking, not the water truck, but the tear gas truck, which just sprays tear gas directly on everybody. Just sprays everybody, families, people walking from work, just because there's like 3 people there shouting something.
The people just give me hope, and I think it just helps me dealing with that emotion a bit better, because I know that there's so many people waking up right now, going onto the streets, fighting for their rights, fighting for equality, and it's so important, and I think it's such a great movement, and I'm really hoping that the people continue fighting until they get what they deserve, which is like dignified lives.
Once you understand the history of Chile and the long history of human rights violations under the dictatorship, it really makes you start to understand how important it is to get the word out about what is happening here and to stop it.
By giving the people that are in a lower socioeconomic class more, like a higher wage and higher benefits and things like this, it's not giving handouts, it's just equaling the playing field.
I always find it ridiculous when people talk about growth or development, but then they only speak about economic growth. Like, that's not it. Like, you need to consider your people. Like,
I have so much love for this country and the people here, especially after the revolutions and everything. It has made me more motivated as a human being in my own country to go home and to talk about the issues that are happening and to stand up for what I believe. I can really understand why it would be very important for the future of the country if Piñera were to resign, because he stands for the top 10% of the country that exploits and takes from the people at the bottom. But I also know that Piñera resignation wouldn't also change everything for the future. It takes real change that is not just a big grand gesture of resignation. It takes the complete rewrite of the Constitution.